Each time a man stands up for an ideal, or acts to improve the lot of others, or strikes out against injustice, he sends forth a tiny ripple of hope, and crossing each other from a million different centers of energy and daring, those ripples build a current which can sweep down the mightiest walls of oppression and resistance.
Good evening. I'm trying to contact someone about an interaction I had with one of your employees this weekend.
So began an email Rem Hennepin Regional Director Scott Rodwell received this past summer. A mother had met J.R. Moody, one of Scott's program supervisors, at a local restaurant in his off hours.
I was out to eat with my husband and 2 children last night. My oldest is 13. He has severe autism. He is nonverbal and often rushes people in public to interact with them in a way that is generally off-putting to most folks.
I spotted him because I spend so many of my waking hours with people with disabilities, remembered J.R. later. My work brain turned on.
Your employee was a bigger guy with glasses and a beard in his late 20s, early 30s. He looked grumpy. As we were getting up to leave, my son did what I often fear most in public. He rushed your employee's table. My heart dropped to my stomach.
I was happy when he started walking toward me, said J.R. I kind of got excited when he came over. He was saying hello.
My son banged his fists on the side of the table and flipped your employee's plate of food, spilling his drinks. He put his hands in the spilled soda pop and wiped it on your employee's shirt. He jogged in place and closed his eyes as hard as he could, and with his face to the sky, made the pressured grunt he often makes when he's stimulated in a good way.
The mom looked really mortified, recalled J.R. I wanted to make them feel comfortable.
When my son rushed the table, your employee looked shocked, of course. But when he began making a mess, your employee's face lit up, and he laughed. It was a deep belly laugh. He was laughing with my son, not at him.
I could tell from his mannerisms, from his face, and by what he was doing with his hands, that autism was involved, explained J.R. Someone with that degree of autism really can't help it.
My son sat next to him on the bench. Your employee asked me if my son was okay with being touched. No one in public has ever thought to ask that before. I said yes, and your employee put his arm around my son's shoulder.
The boy's parents were definitely mortified, but they attempted to make polite conversation while their son finished J.R.'s French fries. They struggled to find words of appreciation.
You see, I've spent 13 years being terrified to take my son in public because of how he might diminish other people's experiences with his behavior. What JR did was show me that anyone who would minimize my son for being the only way he knows is wrong. And people like JR, who allow him to exist in the world as he is, are right. That's how the world should be, and I have to stop being embarrassed for my beautiful child. He is allowed to exist in the world. That one interaction with your employee changed so much about my attitude and outlook as a mother of a child with special needs. I am quite literally supercharged. You just never know, do you? The guy with the grumpy face is actually an angel.
That was really beautiful, remembered JR when Scott shared the email. he was characteristically humble. I'm really happy that that was the ultimate outcome, but I think this is a lot of attention for being a decent person. His response surprised no one. JR would rather focus on the people he serves than himself. As a DSP and the program supervisor, he was a lifeline to men struggling to manage their impulses and behaviors, all complicated by their intellectual and developmental disabilities and mental health issues. These men were recently incarcerated for sexual offenses. But to JR, they were individuals worthy of support. He offered a calm, steady hand. He diffused tense situations and provided breathing room for teaching and growth. This was a far cry from JR's research into 18th and 19th century British literature as a master's student. It was a far cry from the technical writing that employed him prior to joining REM. But the work spoke to him. This is totally my thing, JR recalled, thinking, especially after one particular individual had a breakthrough, choosing to talk through his triggers rather than act on them. You see firsthand, with your own eyes, the difference your efforts have made, said JR. His efforts recently led him to a promotion as program director. He is looking forward to expanding his knowledge and experience by working with individuals we serve who have more complex intellectual and developmental disabilities. And we're looking forward to watching him change people's lives. JR, you are a ripple of hope. We honor you with this award and celebrate the skill, the purpose, the compassion you bring to everything you do, both at work and in the community.